How are you doing today? I have a few questions for you today. First question, do you know that pine needles, like from these pine trees that surrounding me here, you can see the reflection of the trees here on this camera, that pine needles can actually be made into tea and has herbal or so-called medicinal benefit. I didn't know that. Second question, have you ever face a situations that you do not like, but you did not like, but it's completely out of your control? Third questions. Beside the freedom of choosing what you want to think, so choosing your thoughts, which you and I shared about yesterday, what other freedom do you think is inherent to you? Something that you have and will always have, regardless of circumstance, regardless of what's going on in your life. According to Dr. Viktor Frankl, in his book Man's Search for Meaning, he indirectly says that that other freedom actually is the freedom to learn. Regardless of your circumstance, he actually says when you are faced with situation out of your control, then you need to find out what you can learn from it and discover ways to carry through. Yesterday, you and I shared that regardless of what's going on outside of you, you have the freedom, the 100% untouchable freedom to choose what you want to think about the situations, such as, oh my goodness, this hotel room is so tiny, teeny, the hotel room that I have. Or, well, I'm grateful that I have a safe, comfortable place while the house being worked at. And so you have the freedom to choose what you think, and a step above that, in a way that will empower you, is to actually not only choosing, not only employing your freedom to choose, benefiting your freedom to choose your thought, but also utilizing your 100% also untouchable freedom to learn from every situations that you have, every interactions that you have, particularly if it is not an interaction or a situations that you want. Ken Kais says that every person and every situation, so in other words, everything in your life has the opportunity to become your teachers, and therefore that means that every situation in your life has the opportunity for you to learn from, for me to learn from, including having pine trees along around my house. But we want and it is something that we know that we want to continue learning from life, because that's how we continue growing. And as Henry Ford says that anyone who stopped learning is old, whether at 20 or 80. Isn't that scary? If you stop learning when you're 20, you kind of become old. And anyone who keeps learning stays young. The greatest thing in life is to keep your mind young. And nowadays, that was when Henry Ford time. Nowadays, we know that through many research and everything, we know that one way to continue having your mind being alert and prevent, as your chronological age advance, prevent senility, is actually by being able by learning, by continue learning and learning new things, and keeping your mind very active. That's the one way to be able to stay young. And so what are some of the things that you learn from life? Perhaps it's something full of fun facts that you have, but you and I have the freedom, have also a 100% freedom, regardless of what's going on in your life. And yes, when things are fun and wonderful, that's awesome, but we know that it is actually when things are not so awesome, it's actually an even better learning opportunity. And when you have things going on in your life and you choose what you want to think about it, and you can choose to think some things that empowering, that's life-giving, that make you at least feel a little more at ease. You choose what you want to think about it, and then from there you move on to your next freedom, which is the freedom to learn regardless of circumstance, to learn from every circumstance actually. Then when you do that, then that's actually is the number one way for us to be able to continue growing. And there is a saying that we're either growing or we're dying, and I imagine you would love to continue living and growing. And so please share in the comment below what one thing that you might actually that you might learn, that the one thing that you have learned this week or perhaps today. And then share in the comment below what one thing that you might have learned from life. What's one of the most precious lessons that you've learned from life? And if you are facing any form of challenge right now in life, and most of the time being human, we face some form of challenge, not necessarily huge adversity, but if you're facing some challenge, regardless of whatever it is, then what is the learning in there? Because just as you want to employ to benefit from your freedom, your 100 untouchable freedom of being able to choose your thoughts, you want to go to the next step, taking benefit from every situation, knowing that, as Napoleon Hill says, that every adversity has the seed of greater good in it. And one way to do that is definitely ask, what's the learning in it? What's the learning in everything, in everything that you do in life? What is the learning from this challenge that you have? And that's actually when you do that, when you ask, you direct your thought toward the learning instead of toward the unpleasant, then you'll be able to, with a lot more ease and a lot more speed, change whatever that's going on in you, change your result, even without the external circumstance change. Isn't that awesome? You don't have to have your external circumstance change, but you will be able to change your result. So please share in the comment below what's one of the learning that you have, or if there is a challenge that you're facing in life right now that you would love some support learning from. Welcome to connect with me directly if you'd like to. Sometimes it is one of the learning is many of us, it's actually to learn to allow support, right? And and feel welcome to share your feedback in the comment below so I can learn from you. And feel welcome to share this video. But I see as you step into employing your other freedom, your second untouchable, ultimate freedom, that regardless of what's going on in your life, regardless of where you are, you always have it, which is the freedom of learning from your situation, freedom of learning from life, that you actually create and live an even easier, more joyful, more empowered, progressive, continuing to grow life as you continue to learn and live a beautiful, wonderful, thriving life one day at a time, and creating a beautiful, wonderful, thriving life as a whole. And I love you very, very much. This is Birgit, and I look forward to see you again very, very soon.